All right. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday Morning Mastermind. I'm your host today, Samantha Studebaker Carl, and I'm here with my good friends Kenji and Lori and Jason and Jane and Catherine. And today we're going to continue our discussion of Sacred Contracts by Carolyn Myss. We are in chapter, I forgot to look back, chapter 6, which is titled The Chakras, Your Spiritual Backbone. And we are at the part titled The Fifth Chakra on page 178. So if you've got the hard copy, you can find it there. But before we get going with that, I want to give my friends an opportunity to introduce themselves. And then Catherine, you can take it with the reading.
Lori.
This is Jane in Sykesville, Maryland.
Lori Emmons in Denver.
He is Jason in Tampa.
Kenji, Gorman.
Good morning, it's Catherine Clement. I have us stopped on the third chakra. Am I on the wrong page or?
Yeah, we were talking about the voice last time, I believe, the fifth chakra.
Did I put us on the wrong page? Oh, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. I had my bookmark in the wrong place.
No
Yes,
worries.
okay. Page 183 in chapter 6, the third chakra. Okay.
You got
All
Roman?
right.
Love it.
The third chakra, the lesson is to honor yourself. The power is self-respect. The strengths are self-esteem, self-discipline, ambition, courage, generosity, ethics, instincts, and intuition. And the shadow is abdicating personal power of choice out of a need for approval or narcissistic behavior. Continuing down the spinal column, the next chakra corresponds to the solar plexus, located between the navel and the sternum. This is the power center of your self-esteem, personality, and ego. All of your interactions with people begin via your third chakra. I once overheard someone say that the greatest curse of the human experience is low self-esteem, and I could not agree more. The insecurities that arise from a lack of self-esteem generate an almost disabling degree of vulnerability. You are unable to, quote, hold your center or withstand criticism. You have trouble expressing your opinions and needs and drawing your boundaries of self-protection. You don't trust your intuition. Without self-esteem, we lack the courage to carve our place in the world and may end up being controlled by other people. Your third chakra is, in effect, your loudest voice, and it is also your intuitive guide, hence the term gut instinct. According to your third chakra's initial impression, your other chakras either shut down, send warning signals, or open up to welcome the person into your energy field. For although your five senses provide your mind with the lay of the external land, the sensory system of the third chakra conveys the feeling of the land, from sensing what could be hiding behind the bushes to feeling an atmosphere pregnant with potential and opportunities. The third chakra is also the place where you define your sense of integrity and your personal code of honor. The fifth chakra regulates the choices you make in expressing and living up to your honor code, but the third is the center where that code is first formed. The more fully your third chakra values are developed throughout your life, the more positively they will be expressed by your fifth chakra choices. This energy center resonates with your integrity, personal pride, and dignity, which are the positive aspects of the ego. Shame, loss of faith, and a lack of personal identity are the power crises of this chakra. An honor code is essential for you to maintain a healthy spirit and body. Compromising your values or lacking a spiritual backbone puts you at physical and spiritual risk. On the material plane, your third chakra lets you know where you stand in a given situation. Its energy directs you to the location in any physical setting that is most advantageous to your sense of self-esteem, how you will protect yourself to other people. In a social gathering, for instance, this chakra's energy might direct you to stand against a wall, sit in a chair in the corner, or position yourself in the middle of the room and move from one group of people to another. At a business meeting, the third chakra is continuously sending you messages about where best to sit and where to address your attention. A woman named Georgia's third chakra energy was dominated by the archetype of the martyr, which caused her to feel that she always had to work harder and struggle more than the rest of her family to get by. Her sister had married a successful man, and both her brothers seemed to be living free from any responsibilities. Georgia, on the other hand, did not like her job or the place where she lived. She wanted to move, was afraid to strike out on her own in another town. By the time I met her, she had more or less given up hope of ever being happy. When she agreed that she had a martyr archetype, she at first interpreted it to mean that she was born to suffer, which is not necessarily the case. I explained to her that she had a choice about how the influence of that archetypal pattern could work in her psyche and life. If she decided not to examine the meaning of her martyr experiences, she could give the archetype the power to create more martyrdom experiences for her. She could also choose, however, to examine her motivation for controlling others through her martyr behavior and begin to challenge this destructive pattern in her personality. It took some doing to persuade Georgia to open up, but once she did, we discussed some historical figures who had martyr archetypes, yet represented great power, such as Jesus and Gandhi, along with a few people from her personal life. She recognized that they all had inspired others to find courage in their fears and to believe that their lives could be better. This insight made Georgia consider finally facing her fear of moving and changing her life. I can see where I have contracts with my brothers and sister to examine the martyr in me, she said, and that they are doing me a favor by bringing that about. And I can see that I am consumed with self-pity and have felt for a long time that my life has nothing to offer me. They are very positive people, and that's another trait of theirs that I have always resented. Georgia ultimately chose to use her martyr as a symbol of death of self and rebirth to a new life, one of its most empowering aspects. The second chakra. The lesson is to honor one another. The power is creativity. The strengths are survival instincts, including fight or flight, resilience, perseverance, ability to create and take risks, sexuality and sensuality, and financial acumen. The shadow is disempowering or using others for your own advantage. This chakra is centered in the sexual organs and lower back region, while the power inherent in the first chakra is part of a tribal family or group energy. The energy in the second focuses on your individual ability to manage the power of sexuality, money, influence or control over other people, competition, and self-defense. Chakras located near each other overlap somewhat in their focus, and these powerful second chakra energies are all clearly related to survival, also a first chakra and third chakra concern. Our ability to make and handle money, our sexual orientation and attitudes around sex, and our relative level of personal power and ability to use it are all governed by agreements we have made regarding the second chakra. On the level of physical perception, your second chakra automatically evaluates any situation according to how it affects your survival. Are you physically safe? Are there any financial implications? Is your power in this situation threatened by someone bigger, stronger, richer, sexier? A part of you instinctively assesses each moment of your life for its potential threat to your survival. Even if you enter a room full of loving friends and family, for example, your brain and body still scan the room and the energy around you for any impending physical dangers or negative attitudes. You also automatically scan for any threat to people you love. How often have you felt on running into a friend or family member or thinking of someone that you, quote, knew something was wrong, even though you could not identify it? Through this energy center, you are attached to your addictions, regardless of whether they are drugs, work, or other habits. Having to be first in line or needing to have the last word in a discussion or debate with someone is a form of addiction as surely as alcoholism or overeating. Addiction is the act of giving away your power to a substance that in turn controls you, a type of second chakra tug of war. This is the, quote, fight or flight chakra that is another manifestation of your survival instinct. It is also the center of your body that thrives on creativity and your need to give birth, either literally or figuratively, to creative projects. But if birth is associated with this chakra, so is literal and figurative abortion. When creative projects or activities in which you are involved cannot be completed, their premature death represents an energy abortion. Given this perspective, men as well as women should recognize that they have abortions. Many of the men I have read who were coping with prostate cancer had their creative projects aborted in midstream. The act of rape and the energy of vengeance are also products of the second chakra. In this sense, rape is a violation not only of one's physical body, but also of one's emotional, psychological, and creative life. Many people carry the scars of rape in their psyches, but because they have no association with rape as an energy crime, they are completely unaware of the source of their trauma, much less how to heal it. You may have many contracts with people that will come to light consciously when you evaluate your energy bond with them through issues related to this chakra, because all second chakra issues are somehow concerned with physical survival. This chakra reflects some of our deepest vulnerabilities. Arlene, who was a strong rescuer archetype, got involved with a man by, quote, rescuing him emotionally when he was going through a particularly lonely period of adjustment in his life. He had just moved into town and had not yet gotten his feet on the ground. Arlene approached the man, whose name was Jacob, while he was shopping alone and struck up a friendship, offering to help him get to know his way around town. Her private agenda, however, was that she hoped this offer would lead to a romantic relationship. Arlene was forming an energy attachment to Jacob through her second chakra because she had a sexual attraction to him and had the intention to control the direction the relationship was taking. Yet the archetypal pattern that her energy was forming was that of the rescuer rather than the lover. Her need to have a partner, combined with her fears that this would never come to pass, animated the, quote, personality of her rescuer archetype. Whenever she thought of Jacob, her rescuer automatically turned on the same thoughts in her head, which then became the fantasy within which this relationship existed in Arlene's mind. Although Arlene and Jacob began to see each other on almost a daily basis, the friendship never seemed to move into a romantic affair, which frustrated Arlene. One day, as they were seated in a restaurant, a friend of Arlene's named Jane came over to the table, and Arlene introduced her to Jacob. Later that week, Jane ran into Jacob without Arlene, and the two of them started to date. His attraction to Jane, unlike his attraction to Arlene, was romantic. When Arlene found out about their relationship, she felt betrayed and rejected, and struggled with a burning desire to publicly embarrass the couple. She envisioned herself destroying Jane's car and told herself repeatedly, that Jane would eventually disappoint Jacob and that he would return to her. Arlene's negative attachment to both of these people created an energy hemorrhage through her second chakra because all of the issues that she was dealing with were second chakra ones, such as her intense feelings of envy, vengeance, and fear of being alone. In order to break her energy connection to both of these people and to her relationship fantasy, Arlene had first to approach this life experience from a symbolic perspective. She had to interpret the meaning of the events from the position that she had a contract with each of these individuals for reasons that served her spiritual development. Even when we get an insight that sheds a spiritual light on a painful situation, we may have trouble coming to grips with old feelings of hurt, anger, and rejection. To free yourself of enmeshment in anger or old wounds, you have to climb the ladder back up through the chakras until you can view a painful experience symbolically and objectively. Healing can sometimes take practice, but this inner work of viewing your history symbolically is rarely completed overnight. Besides, considering the possibility that she had this painful experience because she needed to encounter her rescuer archetype, Arlene also had to be willing to learn to forgive and move on.
Thank you, Catherine.
You're
I
welcome.
think that's a lot to talk about there.
Wow, thank you, Catherine.
10th.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
lot. It astonished me is that there's so much involved with chakras that people have determined that it's connected to so many different things and cross-connected. It seems like that's really in depth. Wow.
it really struck me that how closely related the um, sexuality and the money, the prostitute part, were so closely connected.
I think what's also good is you can look back and you can see what chakras had the most impact on your life, both positive and negatively. Which ones took away, meaning you didn't do the things in life you wanted, and which things were able to give you those things that you wanted. Because isn't that what life's all about?
Mm.
Is giving yourself what you need. So I often ask myself, why didn't I go to college? I did, but why didn't I at least get through it without being such a screw up? Um, and there's many reasons, but it lies in that second chakra. It lies in the second and the third, the self-esteem, trauma, anger, and being so preoccupied with emotional stuff. I didn't have any energy for the other stuff.
I wonder though if it's like if those sorts of things don't uh, emanate from the chakra, or if that's where they end up being placed. Like if that's where they end up residing after going through the trauma, that's where then you hold the energy rather than it being developed in the chakra.
I think it depends on what the trauma is to where it goes in those chakras.
Because I kind of think of it as like, or maybe it's not, are we born with these certain energies and these certain attachments to archetypes within different chakras? Are we born with that, or is that developed as we live and then gets deposited into the chakra, or does that develop from
Yes,
the chakra outwardly?
yes,
I don't
both,
know. What do you think?
both.
Both? No.
Let Catherine talk. Both, definitely both.
No. That's not what I want to hear.
That's because we carry the energetic signatures of those around us. It is like before we're born. In other words, when I was pregnant in my mom's belly and she was just, I don't know how old she was. I think she was 18 when she had me. So she was very young. And there was conflict between her and my dad. And there was conflict between her and my grandmother. And all that conflict, all those energies involved in that gets passed along to little Catherine in there. So you are born with energetic issues, but then, of course, as you go through life and hit traumas and different things, that adds to it. So it's definitely both.
So if your parents don't have those kind of issues, and you're raised with security and love and all of the things that we need emotionally to become as productive as we can possibly be in life.
Well, look at Catherine. If she went through all that as a baby in her mother's womb, and look how beautiful she's turned out.
Right, but
Yeah.
and I agree, it's like a polishing cloth in some ways, but what would have Catherine done or been, or where would she have gone had she not had to deal with that trauma?
Well, the cloth is the final touch. To polish a stone, you really have to go through a lot of grinding and scraping and all of that before the cloth
Ooh.
come back to really put the shine on it.
Ah. Aha. Interesting. Wow. So it could be like um as we're babies in the womb, we're waiting, we're like, wait till I get out of here. I'm gonna set you guys straight. And then we're born and we're like, what was I thinking about? Wait a second.
I made life hell for my parents. I made
Before you were
life
born?
hell. Listen to me. I mean, this is the way it was. My mom did not want me. There was a lot of negativity in her pregnancy, and a lot of anger with my dad, who didn't want to give up whatever plans he had for life to take on a 16-year-old, 17-year-old girl who had, emotional issues. But where am I going with this? Um,
Well, there's a lot of trauma in and stress and everything in having children mostly, I think. I mean, probably 90% of the time,
but I
there's a
think
lot of that.
in my particular family, it was um, very, very emotional. I came out of the womb with colic and jaundice, and I screamed because I was in pain, and
Mm.
that drove my parents absolutely insane. My mom couldn't handle it. You know what I'm saying? It was like I mean, I get like that with Sweet Pea every now and then, but I love her more than life itself. So I'm able to step back and realize that, hey, this is my emotion. She's just a dang dog, for God's sakes. Um, but my parents didn't have the ability to step back and say he's just a child. Um, but I think that I stored all of that trauma, in the places where it belongs, which is the second, the solar plex and the sacral chakra. That's 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 my that's where all of my trauma just is like, and that is where my pain's at. I mean,
Mm.
and I don't know if that's probably not a
Wow.
coincidence. So I'll be quiet.
Wow. Huh. Been trying to, well, I've been listening to a lot of different stuff on just like letting go of certain things and then trying to like put myself, I mean, I certainly don't have like a lot of the trauma that, thankfully that um, many people have, but just certain like little things that it's funny. It's like that bother me that like maybe you could have done better or something like that. And it's like why hold on to that drama and that feeling? And wouldn't it be great to just, this is what you're told with all these different um uh gurus and things out there that they talk about. It's like think about like letting go and what it would feel like to just let go, and this just allow yourself to just let go. And it's like I had a little bit of, you get a little bit of uh you get a little bit of a freeing feeling. It's kind of like stepping through, it's kind of like stepping through the television screen a little bit to do that. Of course, the 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 drama or the issue kind of pulls you back, and it's like it's hard to like stay in that, that moment or that feeling. But I could see where that sort of like therapy or that sort of thinking can help. It doesn't make the the actual trauma kind of, or it doesn't change the past, but we could clear the future for ourselves. Like, just say, you know what, I'm done with that. Don't need that. Really, is it, if that's what's powering the issue, let me just let it go you know, rather than let me try to wrestle it into submission, let me just, you know, set it free kind of a thing and, you know, move on. I think there's a lot for that, lot to do with that. And I wonder if that's a way to actually clear these chakras, or if it's so intertwined that you can't, that you're, that it takes a lot more, and maybe that's part of it, I guess. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think that that's kind of key to living your life well. And I think we have to do that on a continual basis every day. It's like, oh, I'm thinking about that again. No, you're not. You know, you know, um, you don't need to think about that. Um,
Yeah.
you do need to, and you can find different tools to do that.
Right.
You can go into affirmations. You can just simply say, I'm okay. You know, right this minute, I'm okay. And that was then, this is now. And I don't need to think about that. You know, I didn't know, or I wasn't able to do probably what I would have wanted to do when I look back at it now, but that's okay. You know, you have to kind of forgive yourself for behavior or inactivity that you didn't have, and I think that's probably key to living a life in the present, and living a life that is free of trauma, or free of just tying yourself in knots, you know. um so, and you can, meditation's good. Anything to get you back in your body, like here and now. um it can be music, it can be moving the body, it can be yoga, it can be, so you've got this mind body connection. So that right there is going to help with the chakras, kind of clean out the chakras, get a chakra energetic, a clearing too is always a good way. Do Reiki, or massage, or so that you're not so much in your head and thinking about the past. I mean, but but the mind wants to do that. So I'm not saying that that's not normal. That is normal, but that's why you have to retrain your mind. You have to literally retrain your mind, or I feel that is the case. Thanks, Catherine. Yeah,
I wanted to know why. I wanted to know why the negative thoughts continue to come. I wanted to know why and where they're coming from, and why, after all of the years of therapy and all of the talk that I'd done and beating on pillows and all of the stuff I had done at 63 years old, here I am laying on my back. And that's when I dug into Gabor Mate, and he started to talk about trauma being sticky, and where we store the trauma, and why the trauma doesn't go away, and why it continues to come back over and over and over to penetrate into our mind and steal away any joy that we may have.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that
Interesting.
could talk about that. I just know that it's part of who we are. I don't. I've heard it.
Agreed, 100% agreed. It is
Yeah,
who we are.
it's just part of who we are, and as long as we know that, we just have to kind of use our tools every day. I have a tough time in the morning when I'm first waking up, and I'm like, ugh, another
Right,
day,
right.
and so I kind of go into remembering who I am. I'm one with God. I'm one with spirit, and I am truth. I am compassion. And I go through those affirmations, the I ams.
Mm.
And once I start thinking in terms of positive things, then that kind of cuts it at the quick. I'm not saying those other things don't kind of cloud my mind. Like, oh, look at how gray it is and rainy outside. Yuck. But hey, you have to try and flip it and say, but we need the rain. And I can deal with a rainy day. That I can get all cozy and comfy. I can read. I can watch. Right now, one of my comfort. I've got a low battery. I've got to go get my cord to charge it. If anybody wants to take over until I come back.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, Jane, and then I also recognize what you're saying, Kenji, is we do have this kind of, depending on how we were brought up, and I think that most of us have some kind of trauma in our younger age that we have, and by younger age, just anything that's happened prior to now, right? I mean, we have some trauma, and we keep remembering that trauma exists in ourselves, and then we spiral into this kind of thought process of remembering it and experiencing it and emotionalizing it and feeling it in our body. And particularly if we have pain in our body, we carry that with us even when we're not thinking about it, it's there. And but what I had a thought of, when Jane was talking about doing the affirmations in the morning, and I've been doing, I've been trying to do gratitude in the morning and gratitude in the evening, five gratitudes, what am I grateful for? And that changes the energy. And every time that we every time that we work on changing the energy, we start to dilute the negativity, right? So I had this kind of thought process in my head. It's like when I boil eggs, I pull them off the stove and I stick them in the sink and I start the cold water to go into them. So it starts out super, super hot, and I just keep pouring the cold water in there until it completely dilutes the hot water. It's not hot anymore. And so I feel like with this, our anger, resentment, all of our pain and trauma and all of that kind of stuff, is that we have to keep pouring the positivity into it. And that positivity can come in many forms. We can do gratitude, we can do affirmations, we can say statements to ourselves like what we've talked about before, Kenji, where we're like, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, the ones from Ho'oponopono. And then I was also reminded of another training I did years ago where the woman, it was like everybody was kind of on the call, and she was an intuitive, and she would describe the emotions that she would feel coming up in the group, and she would be like, I feel that there's anger towards mom, I feel like there's frustration towards a job, I feel like there's this or that, it'd be all these two feelings that would come up. And then she would also, after, she'd say, I feel this energy coming up, and now we're going to let it go, and we're going to say, um, uh, please, universe, delete, destroy, destory this throughout time, space, and eternity. And she would just keep repeating that. So an emotion would come up, and she would just be delete, destroy, destory across all time, space, and continuity. And she just keeps saying that. And I'm like, and it was a weird kind of thing to participate in, but yet at the same time, it kept reminding me of, okay, every time I have a blah blah thought come up in my head where I'm upset about this, or I'm frustrated about that, or I'm annoyed at my husband, or the kids are driving me crazy, or whatever it is, I can just delete that thought. I can destroy its thought process within me. I can de-story the thoughts that I have all around that situation. And I can do that across all time, space, and dimensions within my existence. We're talking about on that side of it. If we look at quantum theory, all things are happening kind of in the same time and across all time and space, right? So if we're working on those things on all the different levels, and we keep pushing in the positive and or the deleting or the letting go or whatever, is that we can dilute that stuff that we're experiencing and bring ourselves back to a state where we want to be, and keep reminding ourselves, wait, I don't want to be in that I want to be in that emotional state. I want to be in this emotional state. And I know that I can be there by choosing the affirmations, choosing the gratitude, just choosing to feel the music, feel the outside, go outside, nature, all these things. We have all these tools and we can use them. And we just have to keep doing it and keep working on it. And I mean, because we're always going to have thoughts, and but we can choose what we want those thoughts to be. So that's my thoughts.
And I think too, what you're doing is you're kind of retraining your brain, because it automatically, when a negative thought comes into my head, it's like, oh, where'd you come from? Wait a minute, and so I pause and do what I can to, in that particular moment, to get rid of it. Or if it's a time where it's like, okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of time. Is there, because a lot of these thoughts, remember, are coming from our angels and our guides, spirit guides, or whomever else is part of our spiritual team. So maybe it is something that we should consider. Maybe they're trying to give us something to chew on. But if after a little bit of time that thought doesn't go anywhere constructive, then get rid of it. Think of a more positive of thought to replace it, or, whatever spiritual practice or activity will help soothe that. I mean, I got an echo recently and I love it. I mean, I put on James Taylor and Eva Cassidy. I don't know if any of you know Eva Cassidy. She died before she became famous. She's, oh my God, she's got the most beautiful voice, and the ballads, and yeah, just look her up. Her singing is so beautiful. Or, whatever in that moment is going to help you. Like, again, maybe doing some exercises, maybe some deep breathing, maybe some visualization, literally, those are times too where I say, okay, I'm going to think about, if I wanted the perfect, like, political administration in the White House, what would that look like to me? And then I think of, recently, I thought of the West Wing. The West Wing came on Netflix recently.
I'm not laughing at you. You know that, right?
I do. It's fine. Yeah. And so I've been watching the West Wing and loving it. There's all 7 seasons are on there. And it's like, remember, this was depicted a administration with heart and soul and empathy, and I mean, yeah, they made mistakes. They were always trying to do the right thing. So I've really been loving watching it. So just so you find something that is going to be uplifting in your life, or call a friend who's really high vibrational friend, who is going to make you laugh. I was always jealous hearing, who I would have wanted as a friend. Robin Williams was like the best friend to the people in his life, because he was devoted to, if they're going through a tough time, to calling them and just making them, even if they were in the depths of despair, this man could make them laugh hysterically. And I just thought he was just such a great soul. So anyway, you just find whatever you can that you enjoy in that moment to get you out of those negative thoughts. So, or go to a spiritual book. And my friends give me books that I can really chew on, especially daily, where you can, it's kind of becomes like a, a ritual to wake up in the morning. Or sometimes I don't get to it in the morning, I get to it throughout the day, and kind of bereft if I don't at least once go. And it's just a short, like a page, but it has all these positive ideas, and how spirit is reinforcing all of that. And that's who you want to be, you know?
I bet you that if they implemented something like that in school, like in early elementary school or K through 4, I'm thinking, and the class is how to live, and it's all about how to let go of anger. It's how about not to resent. It's you know what I'm saying. It's because we're not, and we're coming from families that maybe aren't going to teach us that stuff. And maybe the kid goes back and in some ways teaches the parent how to let go of the worries. Like my mom and dad, they were so stressed out about life and thinking that they weren't going to have enough that they didn't have enough. And they almost like made it happen. I mean, they worked hard enough where they were able to be in the upper, lower upper middle class. But I think my dad was an overachiever. He could have been so much more without all of the internal garbage that he had going on. So I think that if I had to make one recommendation to anybody in government, I mean, I want pain management, but I also think that we need to teach our, if you wanna create a society that is incredibly productive, oh my God, teach them how to live.
I
Just
agree.
just teach them how to live.
Yeah, and to about their feelings.
Why
Teach,
don't we?
yeah,
I think about what they do teach, and it's important, of course, but they didn't they could see Ken was an emotional wreck, which means he was unstable inside himself.
right. Well, I think, I always thought guidance counselors should have done more, and they should have had some classes or even a degree in psychology,
But my guidance counselor, Blair Higgins, I love the man. I went to him every day in second, third grade to tell him how bad life was, and he told me everything was going to be great. And um, I saw him 10 years later. You know what he was doing? He was cleaning the floors at Sears and Roebuck, and I was flabbergasted.
But what's wrong with that, as long as it's a job that he was comfortable in? And I mean, you were judging that as not as a step down from what he
Yes, of
was doing.
course, absolutely. Yes,
And
like
that's what we do, but maybe it was,
maybe he
we
got
don't
burnt
know his
out.
story. We don't know his story,
Yeah, we do. All of the kids going to him, telling him his problems, ate him alive.
And you know that for sure, you're just,
Pretty much,
you do.
yes.
Oh,
He-
oh,
from
oh,
burnout and just he had to go.
yeah. He was too sensitive a soul, bless his heart. And yeah, he needed a change. It
I
was,
made him laugh so hard. A snot came out of his nose because I was serious, and I went into his office and closed the door, and I told him I thought I had breast cancer. And I'm telling you, I never seen anybody. I mean, here I am, like only in fifth grade, but I'm convinced I got breast cancer.
seriously, I mean, you didn't do that just to make him laugh. You
Oh no, I thought I really did.
really,
I was worried. We didn't have like we weren't in our body. So a little lump right there, and we're thinking the worst. I mean,
okay.
we're not growing. It's not, we're dying. So I go into his office, and I mean I am down, and I'm
Okay.
thinking no, I'm gonna die, and I'm thinking he's gonna be like consolatory and. But when I laid it out for him, he was like, I mean, man, oh man, he got the best laugh. And I remember that. And I hope he's probably not alive anymore. But
Did
and one thing before we go, my pastor passed away on the 22nd of November, and we had his celebration of life last Saturday, I think at 2 o'clock. It was going to be a Zoom, and they couldn't get it done. They for whatever reason they didn't get the live feed done, and I couldn't be there. What a just
Oh yeah, I think I
I
saw
had
that.
so much I wanted to say. I just wanted to say thank you and how much we loved him, and but it didn't happen.
Oh, that's a shame. But you can talk to him.
I know, but it's like
It's not the same.
I haven't been, I don't like death, so I haven't really been around it. I seem to just really fear it, and instead of embracing it as part of the life, you know, you and I are lions. We're not going to live forever. You know, we can't. And at some point, we're going to have to go. And yeah, it's sad, but that is life. There should, maybe that's one thing they teach us, is that in the here and the now, we don't have to worry about that. Take care of the here and the now, and do the things that are in front of you. That all just goes. It just comes together on its own.
I like did you see what Catherine
What she
wrote
said.
in the chat? There is no life and death. Speak to him. Yeah, there's no separation. You know, he can hear you if you talk to him.
Oh, I'm talking to him.
Okay, all right.
I-
And you need to, of course, mourn the fact that you weren't able to tell everybody how you feel and express all that in his celebration of life, but then, let it go after that. Exactly what we've been talking about is just, let it go. Know that there's an opportunity here for you to express all you need to express within, and he'll get it.
I think it was just because he was such a significant part of our lives for such a long period of time, 15 years or so. He was our pastor, and we went camping in Yosemite, and he heard me having a fight with my wife, and and he embraced me, and he tried to bring me in, and allowed me to ride my motorcycle with him and play in the band, and
He was a very loving person. So you appreciate all that. Yes. And then he is to be honored. But you can
I got his son on Messenger, and I was able to tell him, your dad was really my dad, because my dad wasn't around, and your dad loved me, and my dad, I don't know, and so I told him his dad was like my hero. There was a Vietnam veteran, and he was a man's man, but also gentle, and I hope to be more like Dave.
Mm. Hmm. Well, there isn't that
Nice.
what we want to do, is be more like the people we admire.
Well, that's really nice, Kenji.
And I love you guys. Thank you.
Oh, we love you too.
Love you, man.
You're welcome.
Love you,
Express
Kenji.
express whatever you're feeling. We will listen and lift you up when we can.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right on. Right on.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's oftentimes we don't have the heroes, the role models in our life that we would have liked, and as we get older, we appreciate the ones that were there, that shone so brightly. So that's who he was for you.
The change in you.
But
That we all see the change in you too. I mean, you went away for a long time, then you came back to our group, and you are a different person.
Well, no, I'm well now. I mean, what my journey was. I had that medical diagnosis, which was very, very difficult. I had to completely change my diet and figure out how to adjust, how to eat, how to live. And then I knew that I had to have all my teeth replaced, and I was scared of that. And I just got more and more depressed and plummeted in that, and to the point where I really didn't want to live anymore. And you know that I tried to commit suicide. And then
I didn't know that.
at the very end, I thought I mentioned
Serious attempt or
huh?
serious attempt or
Oh, a serious attempt. Serious.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
I almost, as I was passing out, like I cut myself seriously, and also took drugs enough where it would have done the trick. And then as I was going into unconsciousness, I mean, I was like ready, like, I just want to be out of the pain, or I was just felt like I was suffering. And when you get that low in your depression, your chemicals and your cortisol and everything really mess with you. You just want to be out of it. So anyway, I was ready to go. And then I heard this voice. I heard this voice say, Jane, it's not your time. You have more to do. Reach out to somebody. And it was my guardian angel or one of my guides, or
It was Catherine.
it was,
Hey,
Oh,
she's
could've been-
everywhere.
could have been Catherine. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I've experienced her gifts when she did me did an energy healing for
Very
me,
good.
which was absolutely blew my socks off. But anyway, because of that, I mean, I would have gladly just gone into that bliss but because I heard that voice and it was so, I just knew it was true that it wasn't time for me. And I couldn't deny it. So I got in touch with a friend and she came over. And I've since talked with her, Catherine. I don't think it was late at night. Somebody was telling me, I thought it was late at night. It was like amazing that she got the message, but it wasn't. It was early in the like late afternoon. So anyway, so she came over, called an ambulance. I mean, I was even okay enough to answer the door and let her in. It wasn't long after though she was in the house and she found a key to come back in later. That then I succumbed to going unconscious, and then the paramedics came later, and all of that, and then I was in the hospital in the psych ward. Yeah. So, and then everything unfolded after that, and I got the help that I needed. Really, really good help there at the hospital. Was an outpatient for like a month, and they took good care of me. And so I have because of that experience, maybe somehow or another, I had to go through that experience because I learned a lot. And I realized too, I am really supposed to be here. Like, so don't try to take a shortcut, Jane. And so that's why I greet every day with, now, wait a minute, Jane, remember what the angel said. You're supposed to be here. So you have to make the best of it, And I think about that a lot. So, yeah, maybe I seem different, but only because I've had a renewal. I still suffer and I'm still trying to get that depression under control, quite truthfully. I have my days where, especially when I look at the news and just if something occurs that is,
I know what you're saying.
yeah.
I
But you
shield
don't
myself.
watch the news.
I shield.
Yes, I try not to, but yet part of me wants to kind of know
need
what's
to-
going on because
Yeah,
I think we're watching an amazing shift, a transformation that's going to take place.
Well, yes.
I think that this presidency is going to crumble, and I want to see how people are stepping up to the plate, and I want to see the shift, but yet I don't want to like know all the details, so I try to balance it, with my curiosity and my need to take care of myself. So it's challenging, and I'm proud of you, Kenji. I'm really proud of you. You really tried to help yourself. I don't know the details of all that surgery you went through, because we lost touch during that time period, but you love yourself, care enough about yourself to keep taking risks. And that's important. And it may not have turned out exactly as you would wanted it to, but it's important to know that you were very courageous to do it. So remember that about yourself.
I think I'm going to file a lawsuit, Jane.
I know. I heard you say that you're gonna because of the pain management. What
ADA violation. It's our own government is discriminating against patients in pain,
I know.
and it's not just Ken Pettingill that is coming up with that. I've done a lot of research and I've spent a lot of time on AI, and without a doubt, and I sat on an 8-hour conference forum 3 weeks ago with the Department of Consumer Affairs in California, the Board of Medicine, Board of Pharmacy, the DOJ, and the DEA. So I think I have a well-rounded. I know what's going on. And my lawsuit is going to scare the shit out of them because they're going to have to. They're going to have to. They're going to have to litigate it. You're not going to be able to just dismiss it without cause. It won't be able to be dismissed without cause. But what I'm looking for is a law firm, and I found out today that this online guy that I've been listening to has had so much success that he started a law firm that helps people just like me. Now I don't know if I can get him to at least review my case, but I know enough that in 3 minutes I can tell him. 3 minutes, that's all I need. And I can share with him what's going on. And what's happening to pain patients is the same thing that's happening to victims of ICE. It's the same, it's the government overreach, government overstep, and just a lack of compassion, a lack of empathy, and that's got to go away.
Yeah.
But this has helped. I mean, I'm able to talk here, and I'm glad to get some of that out. But
Well,
I know you and I politically are kind of the same.
yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you expressed that too. And that you have a lot of people in your corner, rooting for you. And a lot of friends. Yeah.
I just can't believe it's going to be little old me. That out of all the people in the United States, nobody has gone into federal court and filed a lawsuit on an ADA violation. Not one pain patient in all of America.
Well, you somehow seem to have the right combination of outrage and intellect and
And I'm not an addict. I'm
right,
not an addict. That makes a huge difference.
right,
You can't gaslight me.
right. So and you've got the drive
What are
and
you laughing at over there?
Me, I'm laughing at you saying that I'm not an addict.
which is true, but it is a little bit.
Got to kind of tell them though, because this whole thing seems we can't give you pain management as the Pettingill because we don't want to make you addicted. That's the reason why we're not going to give you pain management. And the suffering is going to be for your own good.
Yeah.
Well, the suffering is causing more harm and it's discrimination, and you're not going to get away with it. And if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to prison.
Yeah.
Bye, Samantha. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine. I was just, Catherine says she was getting ready to go and
Yeah, it's what
we're a little past the top of the hour. I don't want to cut you guys off, but at the same time, I know we have other obligations going on. So,
Okay. Yeah.
see my watch. Can you see how it's the time is set on it? Oh, I can't do it. How do I get it to you guys so you can
So
see
close
it?
to your face.
Okay.
no, I
Oh,
lost it.
there we go.
You did something.
There,
Yeah.
I see it. Looks like a
So
rainbow.
when I saw that screen, I thought it was broke. I thought I dinged it against the glass or something, and that's why the crystals all gone crazy, and that's why it was all screwy colored like that. But that's actually a clock. Oh man,
Like
go
a
back.
clock face.
I got to go back to the numbers. I can't do the clock face.
Uh,
Well,
But anyway, it's been a great Saturday.
a great session, and I love you all, and I'll
Thank you.
see you all next time. Okay.
Bye,
Yeah,
guys.
good to see
Yeah.
you guys.
Bye,
everybody
Jason.
have a great
Guys,
week.
Love
thank
you
you.
all.
Bye,
Have a great
Catherine. Bye.
day.
Bye, Samantha. Bye, Lori.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.